What's good, everyone? Welcome in to the Sus Edwards Fantasy Football Program, as it is. What's good, everyone? Welcome in to the Sus Edwards Fantasy Football Program, as it has become known to be. I'm your host, Sus Edwards. Apparently, we are going to be drafting some drafters today with a couple of friends, family, and ops, some Americans, some Canadians. So we'll see how it all goes down. Looks like the draft is starting to pick up a little bit. We've got a couple people in here. Um, Looking forward to it today. We got DB bets, maybe zero fucks. We'll see what other pounders pop in, but it looks like we're going to have a decent lobby. Let's see. We got Nick Bach in here. What the fuck is going on? Let's go. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Best ball summer's here. I'm ready to start ripping these drafts, Canadian style, over on drafters. Season long, 20 rounds. You already know what time it is. Canada rises again. Absolute agony. Uh, no drafters for me yet, but I'm here to flame. Absolutely, T-Wise. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? Ready to rip into it, man. It's always great to get the homies together, just ripping into it. And I've got some, interesting little wrinkles I think I'm going to try to explore in these drafters drafts, a little bit different than the pod structure over on Underdog. So it'll be fun to play around with. My first time really getting into it. I didn't really do marathon or drafters or anything like that last year. So it'll be interesting to play around with. Looks like a pretty fun tournament over here on drafters, decent size, 250K up top. Already got 4,000 people in there, so we'll take it. Um, Thinking through on drafters what the primary differences are going to be for me, I think I'm going to be even RB heavier on drafters, 2 through 3 rounds pretty much every time. I think you need that to win this sort of tournament in this meta. I'm going to be pretty heavy on the receivers too. I don't think I want to do too much early tight end. I'm trying to have 3 quarterbacks by 13. Like, I'm not trying to dick around too much. I think you can get your wide receiver 3 filled out pretty easily late. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, though. Again, my first time really playing this meta. So, DB Betts, I think he finished like fifth place or something like that last year. He got 5 bands. That made his fucking day. That might have fit his family. I don't know. What does 5 grand get you in Canada? Like a week's worth of groceries and some gas. I don't really know, but I'm sure it was huge for the DB Betts family. Zero ducking the smoke as always. You already know he wants no smoke. Uh, Crashing out internally. How the Fareed meta has fallen. Truly, truly. I mean, have we even seen Fareed? Honestly, he's got it figured out, man. You win the 3 mil, and then you dip off into the ether. Dissing DB bets off rip is so on brand. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't even do this fucking stream if I couldn't. Best ball summer has truly started. Yeah, man. Best ball spring and winter technically, I guess, feeds into. We're here now, man. I guess we're all doing it for some fucking reason. But appreciate everyone tapping in, tuning in. Let's see how close we are. We're still about halfway. All right. You guys let me know if you guys have any drafters meta strategies in the comments. Just let me know as we go along here. It'll be interesting to work through and see what the different pounders do in the room. We did a little 3-way draft yesterday. Pause, me, DB Betts, and another pounder. Love Stars. Obviously, DB Betts and I gaped him. That was light work, but that's really neither here nor there. I do think you want to lock up your running backs pretty early in this. You don't want to push running back to like take your first running back round 4 or 5 in this. I just can't see how that works in this meta of wide receiver 2 and 3 points weakening, running back points increasing. There's more, maybe not even true workhorses, but just running backs that get the meaningful touches. You have more guys who can catch passes and have a goal line role. I just don't think you want to fade too many of those guys, But shout out to Sean for tuning in. It'll be fun, man. It'll be fun. Any news and notes this week, guys, that you want me to touch on? Otherwise, I can just start yapping. First off, we got the first Jadarian Price carry of the season. I mean, we see the training camp video of Jadarian Price basically fumbling his first carry untouched. Could you even ask for anything better than that? Honestly, y'all know I'm a George Halani Glazer, but at the end of the day, I do think Jadarian Price is going to get that workhorse adjacent role by the November point of the season. But off rip, I think you're going to get a good advance rate play out of either George Holani or Emmanuel Wilson. I do have some pretty significant concerns about Price as a talent bet, but I think if you take a first round running back, you have to give them every opportunity to earn that. You got a guy who, sure, he's 203 pounds. He was a total cuck at Notre Dame, got his chain snatched by Jeremiah Love, but still decent enough athleticism, a good enough vision between the tackles type of running back. I don't think he's that true 3 down profile early in his rookie season. But, someone compared him to Nick Chubb yesterday on some dick eating shit. So what do I know? But does wide receiver being a bit more scarce make them a bit more valuable because RB is deep? I think if you get the opportunity to take a Puka, a Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, that's really like the wide receivers I feel like I gotta have if they're available. The wide receivers I gotta have if they're available. Other than that, bro, I'm not trying to do this Justin Jefferson shit. CeeDee Lamb is like whatever to me. That top 3 for me is like, okay, these guys can really stand out. Oh, and JSN. So that top 4. Other than that, bro, I'm really trying to push the receiver a little bit. Like I'll take 1 through 3, but like what do you really win with like Justin Jefferson's like 1,100 yards when you have like every running back around him getting like 1,600 yards potentially? Like that's a ton to catch up on. I don't think like Kyler is going to support these like crazy spikes with Justin Jefferson. I could be wrong on that, but you've got like he's just not like peak Kyler Murray. It's better, sure, it's better than what they had with 9. Sorry, trigger warning, but Jordan Addison's still there. I think they might bring in Jawan Jennings. That remains to be seen. I don't know, man. I don't know what we truly win with wide receiver 1, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. I think if you can get like that 1,500 yard season at receiver from like the JSN, the Amon-Ra, those type of guys, you can really separate. You can really gap the field. But other than that, honestly, I'm really just trying to be dialed in on the running back production, and I feel like I can make it up in the aggregate with the Devontae Smiths, with the Jameson Williams, with on this website, maybe even Zay Flowers. Let's not get too crazy, but Naylor wide receiver 1, Trey Tucker fodder, dude. I don't know, man. I was a Naylor glazer and a Jack Besh glazer, but was trying to diminish zero fucks to own the brand. But honestly, man, Trey Tucker's been getting the best coach speak. They talked and the best GM speak. They talk about how like they really love what Trey Tucker does, and everyone else they're like, we're excited. It's like you can tell just in the inflection of their voice. And again, we're reading a lot into like April, May, coach speak, GM speak, but like you can tell the way they talk about Trey Tucker's like, okay, well, the guy who's been the most productive here, that's been here like the longest, like who's had the most explosive games. Yeah, we like him the most. Like the stats track with the enthusiasm seemingly. So I don't know. I think we got to roll with Trey Tucker, wide receiver 1, until we see what happens in June, July. I mean, maybe they sign another receiver. I don't know, man. I think right now I got to go Trey Tucker is the 1, which isn't your best case for a 1, but it is the 1. And then I don't know, man. Please, I hope they sign like Stephon Diggs or something. Like you got to keep that offense going. I know you have Bowers, but like, come on, man. Let's get like an actual guy who can line up at the X and make it happen. Oh, that's a big stand, 1,100. If that's about the Justin Jefferson, yeah, sure, he could get 1,200 yards. I think realistically, a 1,200 yard Justin Jefferson season is in play. Even if we say it's 1,200, like Saquon combined rushing, receiving, probably 1,600, 1,700. I mean, even Chase Brown is going to dust him by like 400 yards, like combined rushing, receiving. I don't know, man. I don't know. The Justin Jefferson thing, I mean, maybe I have to recalibrate a little bit for it being full PPR and just rewire my brain a little bit. But like, how pumped are we really on Kyler Murray? He makes the offense competent, sure. But is he going to like suddenly elevate Justin Jefferson to like in the way that like a Kirk Cousins pass volume scam guy will? I don't know. I guess it remains to be seen. JJ in that category, don't put him in that 1,100 yard category. The talent is there. The coaching environment is there. Maybe I just have to move off my priors a little bit. But I do feel like Kyler Murray in the big 2-6 does cap like almost any receiver. Now, maybe there's an element of like, hey, we got to make this guy happy so he doesn't demand a trade out of here. I would totally get that. I can totally see that. I'm not being fair to the talent of a Justin Jefferson when I make these scandalous claims, but last year he did average as many fantasy points per game as Romeo Dobbs. Now, I'm not saying that's going to repeat itself. Obviously not. We've already baked in like a 7-round price increase for that, but I don't think I have to necessarily go out on a limb and say like, all right, this Minnesota pass game with like Kyler Murray, man, like I like sure he's like paid off his like 160 CLV original price assuredly, but like what do we really hope to achieve with like Kyler? Like, isn't he still just like the 24th best passer in the league? Now you incorporate the rushing element, but that doesn't really do anything for Justin Jefferson. I mean, like when you're not stellar enough that like the team is willing, even with the new coaching staff, is like, actually, we don't really want to see what we have in this guy. We're willing to turn the page. We're willing to turn the page with Gardner Minshew, Carson Beck. Like LaFleur didn't like see anything in Kyler where he was like, yeah, well, we're gonna eat all this dead money, but like maybe we could just work with him 1 year. I don't know, man. I feel like Kyler is like it's a little bit more of a name play than a talent play, but we shall see. Sorry, was painting my nails. What the fuck is up? What is good, stars? Yeah, maybe Drizzy London if Tuanon was right in the end. I don't know, man. Drake, he's kind of soft. He's a BBC light skinned king, no two ways about it. But at the same time, like that fucking quarterback play is ass, man. There's Tua Tagovailoa has not supported like fantasy dominant wide receiver play in years, and I don't think as his brain further turns into mush that it's going to get any better. I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't see like the true ceiling with a Tua. Like again, he can get you a pretty decent season, but like, is it going to be better? Like, why would I take Drake London? And I know we're doing a portfolio, we're doing volume, so like you don't want to like be so binary about it. But like, do I really want to be building my teams, investing my money into Drake London in the second round teams, or do I want now maybe the meta shifting? But like it was like AJ Brown in the third, Garrett Wilson at the 3-4 turn, or I could pull up Garrett Wilson. Like Garrett Wilson, I think like straight up maybe better than Drake London, maybe his target share can be crazy. And I don't know. I think Geno, when you remove him from the Pete Carroll nepotism factory and the worst offensive line play, like, I don't know. I think we could get something decent out of Geno. The opportunity cost of those second round running backs is so high to me that I think you really have to lean into those. It's like, honestly, straight up, Trey McBride even was better than Drake London last year in terms of like season long pace, obviously total points. Like, I don't know, like why wouldn't I want like Trey McBride's 30-point ceiling if I'm going that route over the Drake London. So Malik Neighbors, he tore his ACL, tore his meniscus. Like I'm good on that until I'll just buy it in the third round when we get there eventually. Just checking in on the draft here. Okay, need 4 more. We're making moves here. Trey Tucker is very Shaheed coded. Absolutely, man. I honestly thought that Shaheed was super live to go to the Raiders. Following Kubiak, I guess the Seahawks gave him decent money, but there's no way that the Raiders couldn't have offered that money. I don't know. Maybe he like how Kubiak deployed him last year. I mean, he didn't really get the best usage out of Kubiak once he went to Seattle, so I don't really know. What color, gang? My shit is crazy right now. Yo, twinning them. Blue, always blue. Hopefully no Jaden. Hopefully no Waffle. Shit might not fill. We're 2 away. We're gonna be all right. Give some honesty as to why they didn't chase Shaheed over to LV. Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought like you cannot. I'm a Jalen Nailor guy, like in the context of like Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, like create this vacuum where like Jalen Nailor can run free and like get 4 to 6 touchdowns. I do not when Jalen Nailor's like. Remember when like Darnell Mooney had to be the Bears wide receiver 1 for a minute? I was like, all right, bro, like, are you fucking serious? This is going to be AIDS. Like, you cannot have Jalen Nailor being like in the Darnell Mooney wide receiver one role going against cornerback ones. He's just never going to do anything. So I think Trey Tucker actually can win some route. Like he's not obviously your ideal alpha receiver, but I think Trey Tucker can actually win some routes against like the better corners in the league. So I mean, I think Naylor's got to be just Jalen Naylor is Jalen Naylor. He'll always be Jalen Naylor. I just wish he had some better receivers around him to distract the defense. But Kubiak is really good at scheming up stuff. He could maybe run a little hot like a Torrey Horton did in Seattle. And if Bowers is like as good as JSN, like that's going to draw a lot of attention. So D-Hop pattern match, bro. What is up with these? Has he officially retired, by the way, DeAndre Hopkins? I mean, I guess if Odell is technically working out for teams, so is DeAndre Hopkins. But man, I don't know. Some of these guys, they just gotta. At the same time, I get wanting to make $3 to $5 million a year, but damn, just hang it up. 1,500 yards with Darnold, man. 2 better years before that feels like erasure. Yeah, but are we sure Darnold's not just the guy? Like, are we sure Darnold is not just like the fantasy kingmaker? Like, obviously Justin Jefferson was that before him, but like Kirk Cousins is pretty good for fantasy production. Darnold just helped JSN turn in a pretty awesome season. I don't know if Kyler is that sort of guy who has that like 4,200 yard, 4,000 yard bag in him. Maybe he does. It's like you don't want to like fade Justin Jefferson. It's like a bad way to play it, but like with the flattening of wide receiver production, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because the thing is they're probably just going to feed the shit out of him and make him produce, whether it even Kyler is capable of it. They're going to be like, look, Kyler, your natural inclination to like run around a little bit and like throw a safer pass, like you're not here to do all that. Maybe they're just like, no, your job on this minimum deal is to like make Justin Jefferson happy and throw to him 11 or 12 times, which it probably will age like absolute dog shit, plopped in a glass of milk to fade Justin Jefferson. All right, still need one here. All right. Bro got PTSD from JJMC. Don't tell that to Sean, man. Sean is still all in on my boy 9. But I don't know. I did see a little bit of off-season clips of 9, some better footwork. So maybe, he could stand to learn something from a vet like Kyler. What that learning would be, I don't know. But technically, he could learn something. Got the 7 spot here. What else do we have here? Got DB Betts in here. Zero fucks. Absolutely ducked the smoke. You hate to see it. He was supposed to be tapped in. It was 1050 with 9. It was. It was also a shitload of targets, but you have to assume the quality of the targets will be better. But it's not like he wasn't getting targets. I don't know. Like, how many targets do we need from Justin Jefferson to pay off this price? And like how a Kyler Murray target is better than a 9 target, but is it even Kirk Cousins level? Like, I don't know. I just feel so much safe. Like, there is safety in the running backs. There's safety in the Amon-Ra's. Even in CeeDee Lamb, as long as he's healthy because of Dak, like, there is just a little bit of unknown with Kyler, who also hasn't been the healthiest in his career. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks can get hurt, but like, there could just be an element where it's like Kyler doesn't have it anymore. He flames out a little bit, and then you're back to 9. And I just think there's a little bit of risk, but no, I agree. Justin Jefferson can only go up, but it's like, damn, do I have to take? Is he really like such a better bet? Not talent wise, but like production wise than like Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Like, I don't know. I'm pretty into those guys, and I like the running back 2v2s there. All right, pretty normal start here off the board. Bijan, Gibbs, Chase. I think I would personally flip JSN over Puka at this point on account of like he's not crashing out. Puka's like a lot of his late season stuff was on the strength of like an Adams injury. You're not always guaranteed that. I know JSN lost Kubiak, but JSN is just kind of fucking sick with it. So I would probably be JSN over Puka if I could flip the ADPs myself. This is rookie season. 9 is going to be good. Cry more that he mugs the opps. Yeah. I do think you have to give 9 a little bit of time. He had the injury. I mean, he was abysmal last year, but you have to give him some time. I like when people are like, you got to trade him. Like you can't trade that guy. All right. I'm going to play into one of my takes this year. I have Amon-Ra ranked over Christian McCaffrey this year. If CMC runs back the year he just had, GG's, he absolutely mogs me. But I do think that Amon-Ra is like the safest bet. He is one of those wide receivers that can really differentiate. Has a sneaky 30-point ceiling that I think a lot of people think of him more as like a median floor, like really consistent guy. But he also has pretty crazy spikes. Detroit's offense can really get humming. McCaffrey coming off like a 400 to 450 touch season, it felt like, between his receptions, carries, playoff production. I think it was over 400 touches. I think 3 of his last 6 years, he's like missed half or most of the season. The dude's 30. He wasn't particularly efficient last year. Now, it doesn't matter. He's still pretty good as receiver. Their offensive line isn't that great. I just don't think he's getting any younger, any more talented. I think that, like in years past where it's like, oh, we want to like lighten CMC's load. It's like, okay, well, he's like still 27, 28. Like we don't really need to do that. When you're 30 and you finally dip below 4 yards per carry, the team might actually be like, no, we actually want to lighten your work. Like he's not going to have like 400 touches when he's 35. There's an inflection point at some point. I think it could be this year, and I'm willing to break ties to the Amon-Ra type, which is my 4th wide receiver in my rankings and in a tier. Tanner unwise as fuck. Damn, Sean is not rocking with the 9 doubters. Still backing 9 is diabolical. He's so bad. The 9 wars have begun. I thought Sean was sharper than that. Surely there will not be a crash out after this, but I will come back to the 9 wars after my pick here. Looks like it's a Rashee Rice range, Drake London range. Absolutely not. Chase Brown is someone I was going to consider there. I think I'm going to, after I just said you want to go 2 running backs through 3, I haven't done a lot of Rashee Rice this year. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try it out as a PPR scam. He survives the draft. They don't go Jordan Tyson. Mahomes might be a little bit less runny this year, a little more pocket passery. Some people think they're going to do a little bit more play action, uncork some deep shots. I don't know, man, when like Rashee Rice is healthy and the Chiefs offense is humming. I mean, he was like cooking with like Matt Nagy. Like, I don't know. I think the enemies, they're just going to have better play designs. He's just going to be like a target scam. He's kind of like the slightly less talented Amon-Ra Butt in Kansas City. Like, would it really shock anyone if Rashee Rice went band for band with a Jefferson who went 9 in this draft? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out this year. And I just want to have a little Rashee, not a huge bag, but just a little bit. He's 23 years old, and plenty of QBs have started off not well, and was 6-4 as a starter for fantasy is a bit more boring though, probably. Yeah, you saw what happened with like Darnold, Baker. I mean, maybe he didn't have the pedigree of those guys, but Geno had the later career resurgence. Some guys are just not ready. It is crazy to think about. Like, yeah, the guy's like 23. Like, to be 23 and have that spotlight on you. Sure. Can we like rule out the Mahomes? Josh out like the Drake May, Jane Daniels upside for him. Sure. But could he be a serviceable guy in this league? Perhaps. I think like Kevin O'Connell is like one of the guys where it's like, well, you would want, if Kevin O'Connell can't mold this ball of clay, like it does worry me, because he can mold a lot of balls of clay. Pause. I don't know. I think it's too early to rule it out. I would like ride him out, pause through the rest of his rookie contract, and like I'm not giving up on him like for pennies. I don't understand that unless he's like a cancer in the locker room, but he doesn't really seem to be that. Like he just seems like eager to learn. But I think it's good to like have him go into this year not with that pressure on him, but be healthy, practicing, put in the network. So we'll see what happens with 9. Good Garrett Wilson take. Thanks, man. Yeah, no, I just think Garrett Wilson, like I just want to make these talent bets. I think Geno would lock into him on some JSN shit. This is a really interesting board. See the running backs here, fucking ass. Not really leaving me a lot of options. Like, I'm not doing Brees Hall. Okay. We're going to get a little weird in this draft. Devontae Smith or George Pickens. Let's lean into Devontae Smith. George Pickens is cool, but I don't love his vibe right now. And they're talking about Devontae Smith in Philly like, yeah, okay, you add Mekhi Lemon, you add Eli Stowers, but like they want to feature him. Like that is the vibe. AJ Brown's getting traded. They want to feature Devontae Smith in the games where AJ Brown has been out. Now, those games didn't have like a Mekhi Lemon and a Stowers to compete with target wise, but I don't know how much Stowers is truly going to take away from a Devontae Smith in year one. Mekhi Lemon, sure, he's a real target earner, but like I think Devontae Smith could definitely get featured in a way that, like, again, for years, Jalen Hurts was like supporting 1,400 yards for AJ Brown. Whenever they have like a decent designed offense, like AJ Brown gets 1,400 yards, Devontae Smith's getting like his like 1,000. You know, why can't Devontae Smith, if you have an AJ Brown sized hole, why can't he get like 12 to 1,300? I don't know. I would take that in round 3 myself. And he's pretty stackable with a good quarterback one. Drake had some crazy peaks though. He did for time. Drake London, yeah, he did. I feel like Penix. It seems like right now my read from like reading some of the Falcons beats, and again, it's so early, but like Penix was like a bit of a better gunslinger, I think, than Tua has in him at this point in his career. And it sounds like even though that's the case, like they value Tua's like just a little bit more game managery, maybe less turnovers. Again, I don't know. Also, Penix had the injury again. So he's not even going to be healthy for a lot of camp. So it sounds like they're going to roll with Tua. And if he holds on to the job, they'll stick with him. I don't think he'll do enough to hang on to it for 17 games. That would be like really surprising to me. But it just doesn't get me excited, man. Like there's comparable enough talents around him that have like quarterbacks with like good enough arms where I'm like, I don't know, man. I can't take him over Derrick Henry, you know, I can't take him over Chase Brown. Coming up on it here, it would be nice to, of course, we do not. But I'm going to pull up a guy who got compared to Bijan Robinson, which is a completely absurd comparison. Like it's not like a real comparison, but I do think, you know, I mean, I know Bucky Irving had 20 touches per game last year. I'll admit he wasn't the most efficient last year, but we saw what he was as a rookie. The Bucks offensive line was pretty banged up to start last year. You had Tristan Wirfs out, which is like when Tristan Wirfs out, like that offensive line, it's just not going to be the same. Then Bucky has the shoulder injury, he has the foot injury. He goes through like a really seemed like a borderline existential personal crisis. Like it seems like he's doing better now though. Shout out to him. But like I think Bucky is like a guy, we viewed him as like a second round pick last year. I think that was correct. Is he the most explosive guy? No, but I think he's like the feature back on this team. And there's like doubts about Gainwell. Like Todd Bowles and like everyone in Tampa has like made it pretty clear. Like, no, Bucky's the lead back. Gainwell is like Bucky insurance. He doesn't maybe have to have like 25 touch games anymore if like Rachaad White is playing like absolute ass. Like I don't think you want Bucky Irving to like tote the rock 25, 30 times. But a lot of this offense does pretty well when Baker checks down and attacks different levels of the field. So I think Gainwell was pretty good Bucky insurance, but I think Bucky's going to get every opportunity to tote the rock between rushing the ball and catching the ball 16 to 18, 19 times. And in round 4, you know, as a pretty talented back who could easily get 5 yards per carry and some efficient receiving, I like that round 4 bet once like a Brees Hall is off the board. And as like if I'm going receiver to start, he can hold me down as a running back 1. Maybe get an interesting Mike Evans faller here. I guess not really here. What will the receiver landscape be in the next round? Because Mike Evans, let's be honest, I don't really trust him to not miss a significant amount of the season. Honestly, it's a guy. I'm going to go with a guy who I think is the end of a tier here. And DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift feels just a little cheap. Like, even at this price, he's moved up a little bit, or maybe he just goes here on drafters, but like, still feels like a half round cheap. DeAndre Swift, Ben Johnson offense last year, first year. Could they be even better in year 2? I think it stands to reason they could be better in year 2. Could they get more scoring opportunities? I don't know. DeAndre Swift just feels a little disrespected to me, and I think structurally it makes sense. Mike Evans, man, like every time that dude, I watched a lot of Bucks games last year, and like every time that dude would go up for a pass, like his body control, like in the air, like to make a catch is great, but then he lands really hard. He's old as shit, and like he would like be hobbled every time. Like he would either like fall horribly and like get up gimpy, or like his stride length at his age is just like, dude, you're gonna pull your hamstring. Stop pulling your hamstring every year. But he can't. He's old. This is what happens to old players. And now, like, I don't know. Just I think Mike Evans is like, he's gonna be good when he's out there, but like how often is he gonna be out there? I'm not like mystery injury predictor guy, but like I'm Mr. Age understand guys. Like he's old, man. He just is. So I want some Mike Evans, but like a build like this, I think I'm fine at receiver. In general, I get it. RB probably just higher ROI in most cases. I think so. Like I don't want to be 0% Drake London, but I'm like, man, I feel like I can get, if I need to like sun run 3 straight weeks out of like my round 2 pick to like win one of these pod tournaments, like I feel like Chase Brown can get, like, I mean, he did it last year, not to like say he'll do it again, but like it's just easier, I think, for that archetype of like a Chase Brown type or like a Derrick Henry type to like sun run a bunch of like 25-point weeks consecutively, and then I can make up something at receiver later. Jadarian Price, Parker Washington, Tyler Warren, Caleb Williams. I don't love a lot of those, but I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna go Marvin Harrison. Make a little bit of a talent bet. I do feel like this might be the cheapest we ever get Marvin Harrison again. If you look at his splits when he was healthy and ran like 60% of the routes, like he actually was mogging Michael Wilson like 5 yards for every like 2 Michael Wilson got to something. It was like 500 something, 560 something yards to like 235, something in that ballpark. Pretty much like the Michael Wilson stuff. It was super concentrated in the Marvin Harrison injury games where he was either out or like was in and out and didn't really play a full complement of snaps in that game. Michael Wilson's like a fine player, but like Marvin Harrison, I think if we get him out of the Kyler environment, like get him with Jacoby. Now, if Carson Beck plays a lot, then we're fucking cooked. Okay, so this is a bet on Jacoby Brissett playing. Might even stack him later. And just say like, okay, Jacoby Brissett, you're our generation's Jameis Winston. Like just fucking air it out. But like this time Marvin Harrison is healthy. This time you have Trey McBride. He's going to get his volume. This is not a bet on like the 1-2 turn ceiling of a Marvin Harrison, but it's a bet on like the dude could have 1,100 yards, maybe 7 or 8 touchdowns. Like I think that's very well within his range of outcomes. It's still a talented player, and I think like if he continues to hit the weight room and refines like a little bit of the play strength element of his game, he is going to be a fine pick in this range where it's like, okay, Parker Washington, maybe you're a Parker guy. I'm not really a Parker guy. It's easier for me to see Marvin Harrison like consolidating like work rather than like Parker Washington. It's like a really big pie to divide up. I don't know. Review some of the tout submissions in the meantime. Ooh, that would be fun. I will figure out how to do that. I'm not signed in to Twitter on here, but I'll find the website. Okay. Mekhi Lemon, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott. This is, what are we going to do at quarterback? Okay. No Jalen Hurts kind of stinks. I mean, I was pushing it, so it wasn't going to happen. Let's go. I passed on Pickens. Let's just go Mekhi Lemon, make another bet on, is it great to have 2 receivers, the top 2 receivers on a team without the quarterback stacked up? Probably not optimal. But if Devontae Smith plays like a 2-3 turn pick and Mekhi Lemon, we might have just captured like 55% of the targets in Philadelphia. Offense that historically has not passed a ton to wide receiver 3. So I just captured a lot of targets. And again, I guess in like a non-pod environment where like you're not having to like overcome the team that has like, oh, if this is the nuts late, it's like, no, you're just like ping-ponging good weeks. I don't know. I'm going to have to think through that a little bit more. Like, do you guys think you have to have the stack on drafters, or is it less important than underdog? I'm not too sure. But I will pull up some of the tout submissions in a second. So you think you can tout? So you think you can tout, huh? Yeah, man. What a social experiment in the best ball space. So you think you can tout is, I I think it's a little cruel, but I also think it's entertaining. I don't know. We'll see how Pete decides to play it. Um, if he's nice to the contestants, that would be cool. If he mocks them, that would be a little less cool. But I mean, some of them deserve it, honestly. So I can't be too sympathetic to the best ball community, the community that is the epitome of like, oh, actually, I believe, like, no, like, yeah, you're not gonna like get me shedding any tears for best ball bros, but like, I would like to see like not like total dinner for schmucks energy, making fun of people as it goes. It's going to revolve around Bowers, so he's not really the one. Let me get back to this in a second. Such a weird range. This probably doesn't even make a lot of sense, but if we're just doing like a total points thing, I don't really care. I think Justin Herbert probably belongs in the 70s. Like, sure, I could stack Mahomes with Rice, but like, what if Mahomes misses a little bit of time and like in a total points contest? Again, the stacking element is a little less important to me. I think Justin Herbert has that rushing element. I don't know how much Mahomes off the ACL will rush. So I kind of just fuck with Justin Herbert heavy. And if I have to like backstack it with Gadsden or Keaton Missile, I will. All right. I do want to say I liked the Pat Mayo episode that Pete put out. I thought that was pretty entertaining. I think whether you liked Pat Mayo's style or not, I think you just got to respect it. Like, he was calling it how he sees it. He doesn't, and I like that he went in not knowing these people, so he doesn't have to like play politics with like reviewing the submissions. He can be like, this guy fucking sucks. I think he was like harsh on some of them, but like that's his style. That's how he feels about it. So there were some that he didn't like that I do like, and there were some that he liked. That I was like, all right, what's everyone glazing this one for? So I don't know. But I do think it'll be an entertaining program. I think some of my favorite submissions were PPR Tyler. I liked Neil Farley's. I liked Candyman's. I think Emo Cowboys submission was a lot better than Pat Mayo gave credit for. So I don't know. I thought I think there's good submissions in the pool, and I do think it will be a good show, assuming the right people get picked. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Could Brock just basically be wide receiver 1 and Mayer is the real tight end there? Yeah. No, sorry. I don't even know why that took me a second. He could be the real wide receiver 1, and maybe they end up just running a lot of 12 personnel with Bowers being the tight end. That's like just really a receiver. Some would call Brock Bowers our generation's Terrence Ferguson, if you really think about it. But no, I think you could get a lot of that. You could also just like go, I guess it depends how the tackles play and like what sort of protection they need for Kirk Cousins. Like, if the offensive line is not holding up, like, they'll probably need more Mayer. But like, if Colton Miller and all of them hold up, I don't know what they did at right tackle. But if the offensive line holds up, maybe they get more of that 11 personnel with Bowers, which is just like basically 4 wide. Is there anything at running back? This is so fucking cooked. This is so disgusting. We're all gonna learn some names today at the running back position. I don't think I need. I'll just take Jared Goff here. Stack it up with Amon-Ra St. Brown, consistent 300-yard producer. Sorry, 300-yard, 300-point producer in Jared Goff. Ping pong him with Justin Herbert a little bit. I think this is a pretty sweet spot for quarterback production. Like, you get like 3 rounds from now, and it's like guys who are going to have like 80 to 100 less points than these quarterbacks. I don't think I'm going to get 80 to 100 less points at the other positions from here. And like, I don't know, like Jared Goff just exhibits a repeated ceiling that like the Bryce Youngs and whoever, like, let's look at the quarterbacks that go like 140. Like, I like Ward a little bit. Stroud, though, no thank you. Daniel Jones off an Achilles, definitely no thank you. Sam Darnold, they might have to pass more this year. I kind of like him. Bryce Young, no. It's like, okay, and now we're getting into like job security concern range with Jacoby and on. So I don't know. This is like a real sweet spot of quarterbacks for me personally. Honestly, Mayer could very well be in the running for third, fourth target on the team. Absolutely. It's definitely live. I mean, when the wide receiver room is that buried, that's absolutely possible. But just like how many targets is he really going to earn with a Bowers there? It feels Dawson Knoxy to me. I'm just not too into the Mayer thing. I mean, he didn't. Now the Raiders were a joke when Bowers was hurt last year, but for reasons outside of Mayer's control. But like, I just don't know what Mayer gets me. Streamer 101 is insane. Who got the 101? That is not me, sir. I am in the 7 hole. We are still working through the misunderstandings of yesterday. Clay has him for 165 targets, 1,329 yards. Let me come back to that in 1 second. Jesus, dude, these running backs are fucking ass. Can Gadsden fall back to me? I think Matthew Stafford. I'll just ruin someone's day. I don't really care. I think Matthew Stafford's position from last year has largely unchanged. When he was the quarterback 3, now he goes like quarterback 15. I'm like, isn't he probably? And that was like with Devontae Adams missing a bit of time. Like, can't he just put up a crazy season again? Which like people are like, well, like he's not gonna, he might go back more to like 2023 and before. Like, sure, there's regression. Regression's always real, but like, I think going from Cooper Kupp to Devontae Adams fundamentally changed that team. I think you get a little bit more cohesion with, maybe Max Clare or something, maybe Terrence Ferguson gets more snaps. Terrence Ferguson was like a real seam stretcher. I just think that there's a world where Matt Stafford, he doesn't have to do what he did last year, 46 touchdowns. Probably not going to do that, but like he's going to have a lot of spike weeks. And I just feel like, okay, I didn't go elite quarterback on this team, but like Herbert, Goff, Stafford, I feel very confident that like damn near almost every week you're getting like a 24, 25 plus score at quarterback. And I feel good about that with like receiver smashing, quarterback smashing. We have work to do at running back. There is no doubt about that. And that is not how I usually like to play it. So we're going to have to get creative. Let me come back to that. So for Jefferson, he's got 1,329 on 3,700 Kyler passing yards. That feels fair. That feels fair to me. I feel like it might be slightly generous on the 165 targets, but I mean, maybe the average Kyler target is that much better than the average 9 target. So it's certainly possible. Sorry to come back to that. Gadsden is here. That's what I was considering at the last pick, so I'm going to smash that here. It's my tight end 1. I think Gadsden has like crazy upside this year in terms of like being like a big body, almost like slot receiver for them. They don't add a receiver of note in the draft. Shout out Brennan Thompson. And honestly, like Gadsden like was starting to really break out the month before Joe Alt got hurt. So it's like, okay, he was having like a breakout as like a day 3 tight end. It's hard to do. It was like Fannin-esque, starting to be like a real breakout, some real smashes, and then like just good 60-something yard games. Joe Alt goes out. The whole offensive line craters. The rest of the offense started to look like just straight trash. And then now you get the 2 bookend tackles back this year. The offensive line should give Herbert that time to let things develop downfield. And Gadsden, if like he doesn't have to block and they don't have to worry quite as much about blocking at tight end, he should be able to get out and get the routes he was getting when he was starting to break out. Plus, you factor in like, man, Mike McDaniel was turning like, if you can make Jonnu Smith pay off like a 127 cost, and you can make like Darren Waller when he's healthy pay off like a good cost, and Greg Dulcich, it's like, dude, like I get those are like inferior talents, and some people might be like, well, like Miami was like doing like weird stuff with like they would throw to Jonnu, and that was like almost a substitute for the run game. It's like, okay, I get it, but like he likes designing plays for his big body tight end in the red zone, and it's like Gadsden might be their best red zone like plan A of attack. Like you're in the red zone and you're passing. Besides the run game, of course, like are you throwing to Gadsden? You could throw to Ladd. Sure, you could throw to QJ. But like Gadsden's as good a bet as those guys to like earn red zone targets. And he also has that yak ability. I don't know. I think Gadsden could really pay off 127, especially on a Herbert team. But I do think this is a fair median projection. Maybe I just have to rewire my brain a little bit on Jefferson. I don't know. It just I got to sit with that one. I like the shout though. ARSB has just proven year over year. Yeah, I guess like breaking the tie to that certainty with him over Jefferson. Like maybe I don't have to be so down on Jefferson, but I do think no matter what this year, I will have ARSB over him just for that security. Who let McCaffrey fall to 10? That was you and me, sir. We both could have prevented this. I had a little bit more of a role in it, relatively. Virgin's drafting second Rice. There it is. There it absolutely is, man. I mean, anytime you can get a guy who can't stop beating women up and running people over with his car and almost killing them, you got to do it, man. You simply got to do it. He is a brand play for sure. I'll come back to Sean's comment in a second. All right, we got to get like running back here. This is fucking egregious. And there's like no one to take. This is genuinely going to be one of the running back rooms of all time. We are about to get genuinely disgusting with this. All right, but there's like nothing else that's good here. All right, fuck it. We'll take Tyler Algier. I mean, this is like not a good pick. Maybe it's like a Jeremiah Love gets hurt pick. Maybe it's a Jeremiah Love gets eased in a little bit, you know, in his first year. He wasn't a true workhorse at Notre Dame. Of course, he could do it. But, you know, we see this stuff with like the rookies where Bijan, I don't even think Bijan cracked 1,000, barely cracked 1,000 yards his rookie year. Can Tyler Algier just be like a shitty punch it in from like the 5 play? I don't love that Algier click though, but like, I mean, my other targets got snatched up. Like I would have liked Tracy, would have liked Keaton. This running back room is absolute ass, but you know, we've made sacrifices and we have to live with our choices. What's even the difference of Pickens and Lamb? Last year, DFS Pickens was way more alive, even at a similar price. Yeah, there is a bit of like a deferral to like the legacy and the consistency of a Lamb. Pickens was healthier last year and Lamb was not as healthy. I also think there's like like what's Pickens' attitude going to be on the franchise tag, which like I don't know how much stock to put in it, but and that's not like I'm saying that like I don't know how much stock to put in it. It doesn't mean like I actually don't know how much stock to put in it. Like George Pickens, what is the George Pickens mentality going to be? Is it going to be like if he smashes again through 3 months, is he going to be like, look, I've shown it for 2 straight years. I've locked up. I've shown what I can do. I am George Pickens. You're going to pay me. Last year, he tapered off a little bit. I had some like questions about his effort late in last season. I think maybe that could be part of why they didn't give him the full extension, which everyone felt was going to come. Me as well. I just don't know if George Pickens' career year is going to be like super invested week 17 when the Cowboys have probably nothing to play for. I don't think they're going to be like a playoff team. But I think like week to week, you're going to ping pong 1A, 1B, Lamb and Pickens again. Although I do think Lamb had a better start to last year slightly than Pickens. Should the gap be that wide? I don't know. But I think there's just like a little bit of a lean to like, okay, Lamb is secure. We just don't have weird questions about him, and we've seen it for longer. But I think it's totally plausible. Like, yeah, like Pickens could be better than Lamb this year, and like it really shouldn't surprise people if that is the case. Okay, we're almost on the clock here. We got some tight ends, but I mean, does this team really need a tight end right now? I would say probably not. Dylan Sampson, I guess I should be more into the Dylan Sampson archetype if I'm a little out on Judkins. If I think both of the quarterbacks have kind of like noodly arms, they didn't really address running back in the draft. So let's do Dylan Sampson here just as like some points. This is going to look like a terrible pick probably over time relative to some of these tight ends and receivers that go here. But it is what it is. We don't really need receiver. I think we can chill on the tight end for another round. So the team so far: Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Matt Stafford, Bucky Irving, DeAndre Swift, Tyler Algier, Dylan Sampson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rashee Rice, Devontae Smith, Marvin Harrison Jr., Mekhi Lemon, and Aronde Gadsden. I mean, I feel good about the receivers. I love the quarterbacks. I think it's a very high upside tight end one relative to cost. And Bucky Irving better not get hurt. Same goes for DeAndre Swift. If there's one thing we know about the combination of Bucky Irving and DeAndre Swift, it's that they're very, very durable and have pretty much never gotten hurt at any time in a significant way. Yeah, I understand. I just like to bet that Tua's leaving a genuinely poverty franchise, which has worked for these former Jets. Yeah, there is something to be said about just getting, but it's like, so he leaves a genuinely poverty franchise, but it was a poverty franchise with a good play designer, but it was a play designer who couldn't really do what he wanted to do with that offensive line. And maybe the quarterback was a limiting factor. But last time we saw Tua with good offensive line play, he was just a better product. So I don't know. Maybe there is a redemption story somewhere for Tua, with better offensive line play. DB getting smoked, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. That's pretty much par for the course, actually. But oh yeah, that's fucking AIDS. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he has one running back. He took a running back who should be going in the 90s, in the 50s, and then he took the Jaguars, 500-yard rusher. That's diabolical, but let's see what we got here. Denzel Boston is an interesting faller. I have a lot of later receiver targets I like, and I think I have enough firepower up top that I should just keep throwing darts at running back. If I was going to fade that Jadarian Price earlier, Isaiah Pacheco is so disgusting, but is he just there, David Montgomery? Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I don't have a lot of Pacheco, but on this team where I'm just trying to get some weeks for RB2, I think I'm going to have a lot of wide receiver in the flex, which is, by the way, 2026. Obviously, it's the year of wide receiver in the flex, right? Right, guys? Certainly. But never mind, guys. DB Betts saved the day. He took Brian Robinson. So I don't even know why I'm like trying to clown that. I just took Isaiah Pacheco, who's even worse, but it is what it is. I'm under the impression Bucky's success was a product of Liam Cohen. Maybe to some extent, but I do think he showed like genuine, like even in like, oh, he could make you miss in a phone booth, like that cliche that everyone was saying last year. Like, I do think he actually showed that like make you miss in a phone booth type of talent in his rookie year. Now, we didn't see it in year 2. Like, we just didn't. And so you could be right that like we don't see that again and it was a product, but he showed like certain traits that were like independent of that system where I was like, okay, like this guy is just kind of nicey with it. But I suppose that remains open-ended. That's why I'm annoyed at Stribling being that other option, because he's literally surrounded by the medical tent guild. Yeah, like technically, like that's why I do leave a little bit of a light on for Stribling, not like the player. I actually don't think he's like good at all, but he could just be a Kendrick Bourne ass click where like Kendrick Bourne's not that good. He's fine. He's like whatever, but he just got on the field because like everyone gets hurt in San Francisco. And it's like, well, people won't always get hurt. I don't know. Pearsall, as much as I like him, he has a long history of getting hurt. Mike Evans, again, the stride, like the dude keeps pulling his hamstring and keeps falling hard as fuck. Like, so you're looking at those two guys, and then like after that, I mean, Ayuk's like really not on the team at this point. So Stribling and Christian Kirk gets hurt all the time. So like Stribling technically definitely could be out there. Some fun receivers here. But I'm just going to lock up a little bit more guaranteed, what I feel are guaranteed tight end points, and Dalton Schultz. Dude's a bit of a PPR scam. 175, I like it for this build. And again, I can push some of these other receivers. I think Ayuk's going to fall. I like Ayuk, but like I think he's just going to fall as like the news gets weirder and weirder. And I'm not really willing to sacrifice a Dalton Schultz level producer, 700 to 800 yards at tight end for that at this juncture. Should have went Hurts. Yeah, you could definitely make an argument for that. You can absolutely make that. There's a good case for that. I do worry about how much tush pushing he's going to do this year. Just a smidge, not like significantly, but like a little bit. But no, I like that shot. I definitely could have done that. His dad broke out his third year. T-Wise, whose dad? I do not recall who we were talking about. Gotcha. Oh, appreciate it, Best Ball and Call. Shout out to you, man. And people go check out Best Ball and Call's channel. Marvin Harrison. On T-Wise's point, broke out second year. Yeah. Shout out Martin Harrison Sr. Very scary individual. And I'm going to only say nice things about him. Sus panicking? Bro, I could not be more chill. I'm not the one out here taking Commanders, RB3s, and Bijan Robinson getting 250 yards behind. Or sorry, Brian Robinson getting 250 yards behind Bijan. We all cope in our own ways. I guess Canada has a unique way of coping with projection. I lied. It was fourth year. Okay, agony. Made me look like an idiot on my own program. Jesus, Nick. We need to be nice to our touting jesters. Absolutely, man. This is a safe space for the jester maxers and the irredeemable. Chargers line was okay. I'm on the board. Let's see. Oh man, Travis Hunter, dude. It's really hard to pass on. It's hard to pass on Travis Hunter here, and I'm not going to pass on Travis Hunter here because if you're that good at wide receiver, then I am going to take you. I pick 186, and maybe it's a really stupid, silly pick in hindsight, but I kind of do not care because we're at the juncture where if you get me a couple spike weeks, you pay off. And like if you took Parker Washington last year at pick 186, you'd be pretty happy with it. And like, why can't Travis Hunter if injuries break a certain way? You know, what if BTJ gets hurt or traded? What if Parker Washington gets hurt? What if Jacoby Myers gets hurt? Like, if it consolidates, if one of those names ahead of him kind of clears out a little bit, like, okay, and then he's running in 3 wide receiver sets. He'll still play cornerback if one of those guys gets hurt, but I think they would just like load up his snaps. And so we're at the point where it's like, all right, talent, weird situation, but like weird situation for all these guys and their worst receivers. So we'll just do it. It's fine. The Chargers line was completely broken last year. Actual cones blocking, and he made it work. Yeah. It was not, you lost Slater before the season even started. Joe Alt in and out, and then officially out. Like they got rid of the shitty ass interior offensive line. I think they've revamped that. Bradley Bozeman, we're smoking on that Bradley Bozeman pack. Let me tell you, it is some gas. I was surprised by Emo one. Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. Like he didn't let Pat Mayo didn't really let the song rock. You gotta let the song rock, man. You got to get to the chorus. You got to hear a couple bars. But again, like he wasn't feeling the vibe. I mean, if I'm like scrolling on like Twitter or like Instagram, TikTok, whatever, it's like, and I'm not feeling the vibe on a rail, I'm like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. But I do think Emo's song was good, well produced, and thoughtful. Let's see. I think we're probably gonna get a running back here. I think Braylon Allen at this price is a pretty good bet. Not like the biggest Jets offense guy, but like I think pretty decent RB2. The fact that they really don't address the position at all, free agency or the draft, it's like, okay. Like, I mean, they bring back Breece Hall, but it's like they don't add a Braylon Allen competitor. Maybe if you're shout out to the Isaiah Davis slappies out there, but I think I'm going to go Braylon Allen here for maybe a couple weeks along the way. Nothing too special. But yeah, shout out Emo. Oh yeah, it is pretty brutal beyond Colton Miller. Yeah, on the Raiders offensive line, absolutely. I like Jackson Powers Johnson. I feel like they added. Yeah, they got JPJ back and Linderbaum added from the Ravens. So they have some pieces now. They probably drafted somebody to like develop in there. So it'll be interesting to see what the Raiders can do in terms of pass and rush protection, but like just being healthier. I mean, like we saw some decent Geno games early last year before the pieces started to go down, and then they add Linderbaum. So it could be solid. Bro's acting like he ruined someone's day, taking naked Stafford as if he ain't back stacking with T for. Bro, how do you know I'm not going to backstack with Max Clare? You never know. I might be changing my ways. I'm not changing my ways, not changing them whatsoever. We remain take locked from pretty much February until October when I start getting severe depression about how my picks have gone. But we will remain take locked until then. There's no two ways about it. The chat just knows me. Shout out to you guys, man. You guys are some real ones. Touting 2RB through 3 rounds to then switch up to 2RB through 11 is diabolical. It's diabolical and it's suboptimal. And I don't like doing it, but don't let DB Bets hear that. But don't let DB Bets hear what I just said to everybody. Sus, what's good, Rabona King? Shout out Rabona. Did you max this tournament last year? Dude, I was not really on a drafter tip last year, but I think I'm going to be this year. I kind of like the 20 rounds element. I feel like I can execute some of my things a little bit better. I also think like I'm maybe just wired like more towards like season long production. I had like a pretty good finish in like, not that this is the goal, but just like drafting some teams that finished decently high in BBM. Like one was like 100th or whatever. I think like if I actually optimize for that. Now, I don't think this draft is my best work in that regard. Although I will say there are some picks to come at the running back position. So never say never. The McDaniel part is true. Personnel is just bad. Yeah. Like McDaniel's great when he has the offensive line, but when he doesn't have the offensive line, it's like, is he really that good? Like, is he really that productive? So no, I think Tua and McDaniel can both benefit from the fresh start. Yes, Pacheco. Let's fucking go. Okay, wait. Let's see what we're looking at here. Oh, I don't even care what I need structurally. It doesn't matter. Terrence Ferguson, lock in the Rams, Kyle Pitts. They don't take Kenyon Sadiq. They don't take Mekhi Lemon in the draft. I'm not going to keep going into it. I had a tweet by Sus Edwards. The standards go viral. I mean, like 400 likes, whatever. But like Terrence Ferguson, like if the fact that the Rams they said, quote, that they didn't take Mekhi Lemon and Kenyon Sadiq because they didn't feel like they could be immediate producers at the positions. It's like Windhorst fingers. What does that mean? It means that I think that they don't think. Now, Mekhi Lemon, I completely disagree. So maybe it's all silly, but I think they just want to run a ton of 12 personnel. Like that's what they want their base offense to be. And I think they view Terrence Ferguson as like a power slot field stretcher guy who they invested good capital in last year. He had a good yards per reception. Now, it was limited snaps, but he was also hurt in the preseason and throughout the season. Then he had some like early healthy scratches, but it's like we saw Blake Corum, which like running back's like the easiest position on offense to learn. Like Blake Corum couldn't even do anything his rookie year. It's like, dude, tight end, like besides quarterback you have to learn the blocking concepts. You have to keep Matt Stafford with a bad back upright. Pretty big deal. You got to like learn the route trees too. Okay. What round are we? 19? Fuck it. George Halani down there somewhere. For the bit, I don't really want to keep smashing Halani. I think I'm good on that. But we got to give the people what they want. They did not come here to watch me draft Najee Harris, nor would I. But yeah, I just think Terrence Ferguson, like, I don't want people thinking I'm like, oh, he's going to be like a top 3 tight end elite. But I'm like, can't he be like Jake Ferguson? Can't he pay off the price of like some of these guys in the 130s to 160s? Can't he be Dalton Schultz or Hunter Henry? Like, isn't it plausible that the team that took him pretty high last year that threw 14 touchdowns to tight ends maybe lets their year 2 guy who's like by far the best athlete and prospect of the group like become the one? Like, I don't know. Colby Parkinson's like the most just a guy ever. So I don't think he's going to like send everyone else to dust, but it's like the Bowers and Mayer thing, not in the sense of he's Bowers, but in the sense of like Ferguson could be the route running tight end and like Colby Parkinson could be more of the inline guy. And I think Ferguson could get a decent amount of routes. As a route running, he dusted the next tight end in the league in yards per reception. I think he was at 21 and the next closest was 15, which is just kind of to the point that like he's a little bit of a different archetype of like he runs a lot of receiver routes. So it's kind of an interesting profile. We'll see how it goes for him. Coming up on our last pick here, quarterback's good, tight end's good. I think we're going to get a receiver here. Who do we like? Is there anything stacking? Probably not. I'm not doing the KLS thing at the moment. Kanata Mumfield? No, I don't think so. Jalen Noel, I like a lot. Devon Vele, not so much. Jack Bash is interesting. Tyquan Thornton has a ping pong If Rashi has a down week, I think Taekwon could have some little spike weeks here and there. But like at PPR site, I don't think Taekwon is really the play. Someone had to have taken. Yeah, Chris Bell's gone. What do we really need? I think we just need like the guy who can get some points if there's injuries or something. Like I don't really think we just need a body. Jack Besh kind of fits that archetype. And we're just gonna go Jack Besh for a guy who I think it's not gonna have a ton of like spike weeks, but like if there's some injuries, I think he's gonna set a decent floor. Travis Hunter kind of doesn't even really like you kind of have to view him as a zero. So as like this team's actual wide receiver 6, I think Jack Besh very live to just outproduce Travis Hunter, get you some like kind of Cooper Cup on the Seahawks, just 13-point games, whatever. Sometimes you need that for bye weeks. So I don't want to take too many zeros there, especially when I drafted so much at receiver. But yes, Pacheco, let's fucking go. Slightly better than 62 overall, am I right? I don't know. I don't know if you're right, but you might be. I hope you are for this iteration of team. He was very ass last year, but they bring him in to be RB2, and he gives himself a nickname, and it's cringe, but fuck it. It seems like he's a thing, man. Pacheco over B-Rob is insane. It quite literally is not. It's like the most coin flip ass, neutral ass decision I've probably made in my entire life. DV bets on Wicks, sheep gonna sheep. Yeah, I remember when I was on Dontavian Wicks in 2024 and a month ago. It's May, buddy. Move on. It's done now. Tfer going to be the 4th target. I think you're right. I think you got your Puka, Adams, Kyron, and then would not shock me if Terrence Ferguson is technically 4th on the team in targets. And again, like I'm not saying he's going to get like 1,000 yards. I think he could get like 700, and like get a couple spike weeks along the way. Have some fun. Correlate to a potential, QB1. Another DB victim. I'm sure you have a ton of victims, and we can talk about that in the DMs, and then I'll report you to the constable or whatever they call the authorities up in Canada. But all right, let's review these teams real quick. Let's see. Get to the full draft. All right. We'll review Daddy's team first. That's crazy. Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Bucky Irving, DeAndre Swift, Tyler Algier, Dylan Sampson, Isaiah Pacheco, Braylon Allen, and George Holani. That running back room is fucking ass. This team sucks in that regard. Bucky Irving, DeAndre Swift, you're going to have to carry me so fucking hard. But I will say, I think quarterback, I probably should have just jammed Rachaad White suboptimally at some point. But we had fun. What if the team that finishes well and returns value on the buy-in was the friends we made along the way? If you ever thought of that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rashee Rice, Devontae Smith, Marvin Harrison, Mekhi Lemon, Travis Hunter, Jack Besh. I love that. I love that receiver room. I love it all the way through. Rondé Gadsden, Schultz, Ferguson, totally fine by me. Bunch of guys who can, Schultz kind of holds it down, and then Gadsden and Ferguson could have some spikes. A little bit more at quarterback than I'd like. Again, I would have liked the running backs to have fallen to me slightly differently, but again, that's the position you put yourself in when you go receiver. If I go McCaffrey, this draft probably looks a lot better in hindsight. But, if Chase Brown was there in round 2, maybe we're singing a different tune. So I don't know. I think it's thin. It's thin with, Bucky and Swift doing a lot of heavy lifting, but I like the receivers that can hit the flex. And, can we ping pong some Algier 12-point games, some Samson? I feel like this team will probably min cash. Not probably, it could min cash, but I'm not jazzed on it, I will say. But let's see what DB Betts did. So he went 2 quarterback, Caleb Williams and Baker Mayfield, and then took a guy who last we saw him did not have 200 yards. That's always sick. It's always good when the guy 2 Achilles tears ago couldn't throw for 200 yards. But Jonathan Taylor, Quinshawn Judkins, Chris Rodriguez, Brian Robinson, Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton, Kalen Black. Okay. So he went hero RB, and then he got a bunch of Jags. Interesting approach. Taylor does a lot of work. Like, Taylor will take you pretty far. But besides that, I don't know. Drake London, AJ Brown, Parker Washington, Ass, Chris Godwin, Omar Cooper, Rashid Shaheed, Wicks, Tolbert. It's a fine, pretty solid receiver room. Got some big upside guys in London, AJ Brown. I'm just not a Parker Washington guy, but I like Godwin, Cooper, Shaheed, much to Sean's chagrin. Wicks is fine at 198, and Tolbert, he could straight up run a shitload of routes. So, and then Loveland Pitts. I actually do like this team. There is a world, and not one I would ever admit to, but there's a world in which I like DB Betts' team as much as mine. Do we have anyone else in here? Anyone else in here that we know? If you're here, reveal yourself. But chat, let us know who won this draft. Was it DB Betts or was it Sus? And just remember that if you don't say me, my feelings will be moderately hurt. Moderately hurt, but not too bad. But, dude, this is what I want the takeaway to be. Honestly, everyone duck the smoke. You got to put some respect on DB Betts' name. He pulled up. He drafted. I mean, Love Stars. Pour one out for Love Stars, man. It's going to be a long weekend for him. Zero fucks where you at, my boy. But I had fun drafting with you, DB. Always a pleasure. And I appreciate everyone coming out for this draft. Had a lot of fun. Going to try to do some more drafters drafts throughout the summer, here or there, whenever, it'll be fun. Appreciate everyone tapping in the chat. And till next time, peace.